guys? Boy Kryptonian saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 466, and this is yet another chapter where I find myself realizing exactly why I love Usopp, because all the qualities of the character that made me fall in love with it in the very beginning of the series, all the way back in, I believe, the East Blue arc, probably like around volume 4, volume 5, you see him on full display here. When he's talking to Perona, I'm going, how's he going to defeat her? How's he going to defeat her? He's not going to actually hit the lifeless body. And to my credit, I called it. He didn't hit her body. However, he gets Perona to tell her exactly how her power works. And he says, I knew it. I knew that you switched out, and that you did that when you were running away and when I lost sight of you, and that you hid your actual body. And he says, I wonder what would happen if I managed to actually strike your body. And she starts freaking out, and she gets relieved when this star that he shoots at it actually ends up missing. But the whole time it's actually a red herring in itself. It's made us to believe, oh shoot, Usopp actually missed. And yet Usopp is a marksman. He doesn't miss. Like when Usopp shoots, he hits his target. And so I actually fell for it. I was like, oh wow, I guess he couldn't bring himself to actually strike a woman. And she takes that opportunity to get back inside of her body. And then once that happens, the actual star ends up expanding. It traps her body so she can't physically move. And Usopp says, that was all part of my plan. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty clever right there. And she was just insulting him, saying they didn't use his brain. And really reminds me of a certain person who can no longer comment on any of my videos, who used to always trash Usopp and call me all these crazy names because I said that I loved Usopp's character. And it's for reasons like this. Usopp is the goofball, he's a coward, and yet he used his mind with this. This was right up there with what happened with All Along Park, where he basically doused the dude in alcohol and burned him. And Usopp's just like, okay, I got the black star, and you got like all these roaches to show up on her body, and Perona's freaking out because these roaches are crawling on her, and for good reason. You know, roaches are disgusting, but they're actually toy roaches, and she couldn't tell the difference. And then Usopp takes the lying and negativity and pessimism up to another level. He says, I'm known as the strongest man in the East Blue, and at that point I lost it. I was like, Usopp is so full of it, and he's got that hammer, and I believe he used that in All Along Park as well. And it's a 10-ton hammer, and Usopp just slams it, or doesn't slam, he pulls it out and casually sets it down. And Perona's like, if you hit me with that, I'll die. And she's freaking out, and Usopp picks up that hammer, and he goes up to her and he starts to swing it down on her as the roaches are all over her body, and she ends up having the foam come out of her mouth and she's passing out, and Usopp just smashes her head with it, and the balloon pops. And Usopp says, that's what you get for getting into a battle of negativity with the king of liars and the king of pessimism. And you also had that one moment where when Perona did try to use like the explosions and Kumasi and that warthog, Usopp is using all of the dials that he collected in Skypiea. And what's really interesting about that is we actually see that Usopp can use the impact dial after he's actually been engaged in a battle for a while. So it shows Usopp's gotten stronger, just like Zoro said back on Eames Lobby, when Zoro was saying he's fought with us, he's gotten stronger island to island. So we're seeing another case of it here. So it's showing that like Usopp has gotten to the point where the dude's going to be a really good contributor to the Straw Hat crew as they get closer and closer to the new world where everything's going to get real, because you have the 4 emperors and they've all got sections of islands that they run. So the battles are going to get more and more tense as the story progresses from here. But I know we're a ways off from this, because if you just look at Oda's pacing, we have to be a ways off. And another thing about this is after this ends, it directly transitions to Zoro, and I see something I didn't expect to happen. Zoro is being blown away by Brooks' zombie, and Zoro, you see him, he's got like the whole KO face, and Brook is like, I can't believe it. He was holding back against me the entire time. And Oda pretends, not pretends, but proceeds to go back and do what we call a flash forward, where he jumps forward in the very beginning after the fight, and then he proceeds to go all the way back to when they first started engaging with each other. And you see Zoro, he's blocking a few of the attacks. He's saying, I have the three sword style. You wouldn't be mocking it if my sword wasn't in tatters. I keep it on my side right now. And you see the fight just continue to escalate. And when the chapter ends off like that, where you have Brook saying that I can't believe he was holding back, it leads me to believe that this is going to be one of those moments where Zoro takes out that headband, ties that thing on, and Zoro proceeds to put in the work. So I'm excited to see how Zoro's fight's going. But I like that these fights are, I wouldn't say being rushed, but at the same time, Oda's wrapping them up really quickly. So it really looks like we're going to get to the end of this arc probably in the next volume or two. Maybe before the end of the next volume, which would be very, very nice. I could maybe even see Oda wrapping it up probably 2 chapters into the next arc. But my chapter question for you guys is, how impressed were you with Usopp's victory? But as always, guys, if you like anything I have to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching the end of the video, guys. Have an awesome day.